have with us today Viviane Chauvet, and we're very excited. She is mostly Arcturian. It's a fantastic story we're going to hear from her. And Viviane, why don't we start at the beginning? Tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, with pleasure. I am 57% Arcturian and 43% human from my mother's side. As soon as I was born, the doctor noticed that I was not behaving like a normal hurt baby. My fist was not all tied up. I wasn't crying. I was very relaxed. My hand was just open and like almost welcoming the day. I did not crawl on the floor. I don't know what it is to crawl. I walked at a very late age. I was like 2 years old when I finally went from a sitting position to standing up on my feet. So what my mother did with advice, medical advice, she brought me to this hospital called the Montreal Children's Hospital, which I spent many years there. Not permanently, it was on and off, but I was studied there. They studied my bone structure, my muscular system also, and my organs. One thing they find out very early is that my skeleton is almost 2 times smaller than a regular human, female human. And they was wondering how could that be to have a child born from 2 normal human parents, and back in my family, both sides, there was no medical evidence to support why I came up with such a structure. Of course, they couldn't know back in the 70s and 80s because, you wouldn't say, well, because my child has been manipulated with DNA from Star Nations or aliens, it's something you don't talk about. So I spent many years there. They studied the density of my bone, which is much lighter than a regular bone. There's a slight discoloration also to them. And my organs are smaller. Like my heart is more oblong shaped than round, and it makes sound like a click sound when it beats. And that sound is supposed to be just in children. When you listen to the heart of a child, you're going to hear that click. When I'm 41 years old today, I still hear that click. Because also my body ages differently. I don't age as fast as a human. The aging process is slowed down. So muscle-wise, I am not built to live and exist on the 3D world. This planet is very dense. The air that we breathe is denser. Everything is dense. So for me, it's a big challenge to be here. And as a child, I was not very involved in moving and being very high actions. I was just being there, sitting down. And my mom recalled I was just smiling, like looking at everything, almost like I'm experimenting what's around me, like learning. And I felt very different all my life. And I knew at an early age, I knew that there was something very different about me. And you know how we vibrate, people pick up on energy even though they're not aware of it. But kids would always look at me like, you're weird, you're bizarre, it's just, you're not like the others. So I was very rejected because they just couldn't understand what it was about me that was so different. So my way of looking at life is different too. There's a lot of things that I don't understand about the human behavior. I don't understand. It's like, even as a child, I would look at kids, it's like, why are you so mean with each other? Why not just come together and play? I can share. I just always have this yearning to share my knowledge with you. If you want to know, come ask me. I'll tell you. Because that's part of our nature. Arcturians are very loving. They're more group-wise rather than individual. The whole society of an Arcturian is based on senior elders, the council, and the benefit of all. Without losing who you are, you can still be very unique at the core, but unique within your group's all. So that was always something, a challenge for me to adapt, as for being competitive and I'm better than you, and it's just in school you have to go sports and all those things that was so strange for me. So, and even as a kid when I played with toys, I didn't play with dolls and cooking, playing mother and with my dolls and stuff. I was more playing with I had flying saucer toys, I had my little alien, I would play with them. That was much more familiar to me, It was. And as a family activity, what my parents would love to do is to take my brother and I out in the countryside late at night just to observe the stars to see maybe we can see something, maybe we'll have a contact of some kind. So I grew up with that kind of environment.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your parents, and are they equally as special? I mean, genetically speaking, or
Yes. My human father is extremely healthy. His bone structure is very strong. He is the opposite of me. He's very, very strong, very healthy. But both my parents have always had a very open mind. They always have this natural curiosity for life elsewhere. And in fact, back in the late 60s, when they were both 16 years of age, they just met and, get together. They would take long rides in the countryside on my father's motorcycle. And flying saucer would come above them and just follow them wherever they would go. And they would follow more and more. And when they got married, eventually they made contact with them. My family would contact my mother telepathically and rendezvous with her in places. So she would tell, tonight we want you to go to this location, whether it's a forest, in a swamp, out of the city, an hour, 2, 3 hours. Go there, and once you go there, we'll take over. And my father was his chauffeur, so he would drive her there without telling anybody. Nobody knew what was going on, so they would just take off. And they would go there, and very often he recalls the car was too small to get where they wanted them to be. So the ship would come, and they would tell my mother, tell him, leave the wheel alone, don't drive anymore, we'll take over, and the car will automatically get to where they want it to be. And then they will tell my mother, okay, come, we wait for you. So she would get out of the car, get on board the ship. My father witnessed everything. And the ship will take off, go back in space for hours, and he will just stay there. And to thank him for his service, he was allowed to retain his memory. So even to this day, he remembers everything, every encounter, every visitation, everything. So my mom would go on board and they would talk with her. And for the little, it's a very taboo subject in my family. My mother doesn't want to talk about it with me because she saw my struggle. It's very difficult on the physical realm for me to be here. Growing up was very nostalgic, very difficult for two aspects. The physical aspect, because I'm so highly hybrid in the physical body, my form, that I am not built to live on this planet. It's too dense. Arcturians live in the 5th dimension. The atmosphere there is much lighter. Even my lungs are too small for my body. I only have 63% of lung capacity. So there was the physical aspect. I was always telling my mother how much in pain I was. Oh, Mom, my legs hurt, I can't breathe, my heart is pumping. And she knew, she saw the struggle on the physical level for me to be here, the challenge to stay in its physical form. On the emotional and mental level is the rejection. People just couldn't understand why I was so frail. Why you don't play ball with us? Why are you just like almost like just vibrating? For me, I don't understand. Like I mentioned earlier, why be so mean to each other? Why kids do that? I don't understand. Come be my friend. Talk with me. It's just my outlook, the approach overall. Because I remember where I come from. It's all about love. It's for the highest good of all. It's unity. I don't want to fight against you. I don't want to be better than you. If you're better, I'm happy for you. I'll rejoice with you. So that was the double aspect for me, but also really, again, physically very difficult for me.
Did you bring any gifts in?
Yes.
Can you talk about
yes,
that?
thank you for that. I am highly empathic. I feel people's energy. I feel their emotions. They look at me. There's so much going on. I can feel what they're thinking. Or even some people send me a message today through emails. Well, just the tone of the email, I can feel what that person had in mind. Is sad, joyful, frustrated. I can feel that. I see lights, lots of sparks of lights around people. And when I talk, when my people agree, they want me to say some things, they send me sparks of lights. I channel them. I can feel them talking to me here. It's a group of voices. We always come as we. I'm extremely compassionate because, of course, that's what I am. In reality, I'm here because they want me to maintain the highest frequency as possible. I'm here to raise the frequency of this planet to help humanity and all form of life to ascend in the fifth dimension and help the planet to ascend where it's going right now. So there's a reason why. You need to understand that they're going above and beyond to keep me on this planet. In fact, when I was 3 months old, I died. I left my body. The doctor gave up on me. They couldn't understand what was going on because it's the structure here, the pressure here is too strong for me to sustain. I'm 57% alien, and Arcturians are very tall and slinky. I mean, physically, I look a lot like them. If you would look at my human parents, you would say, you don't look like them. We have some familiarity because we grew up together. I mean, I was raised by them, so of course, maybe the nose, like my mother, stuff like that. But people look at pictures of my family. Honestly, I look, it was put there, and I was. So they're really going above and beyond to keep me here. That's because of my frequency, my vibration are high. Everybody who comes in contact with me, they can feel it. There's something, they always say, there's something about you. My aura is large, you know, I'm light, that's who I am when I'm from the heart. We are from the heart, so when I'm vibrating, it's high frequency. That's who I am. So it could be a struggle because if I look back in the 70s, 80s, even the 90s, people were not totally ready for that. I have witnessed a big shift in consciousness in people. Today, people start to embrace who I am. They go like, wow, this is phenomenal. Because people are awakening. Star seed are being activated. There's so many star seeds on this planet.